Good evening, friends, and it's a pleasure to be here again with you. And we look forward to your questions on two very interesting topics. One is cash flow management, and the other is remote team management. Both are critically important. They were always very important, but they are today more than ever absolutely important, and especially the cash flow management. So, before we get into taking questions, I would like to request Nagu to share his views, and then I will add mine about what does he understand from cash flow management. Yes, Nagu, go for it.
Okay. Rajesh, this is again a very good topic that you've picked up in your book. All topics which are the need of the hour, and everything is probably needed yesterday. But let's understand something, that it's not that these topics were not required yesterday. They were definitely required. They're more so needed today because of the given importance for whatever is happening around. Now, getting back, cash is king. And that needs to be very clearly understood in capitals. That's on top of everything. Cash is king.
Absolutely.
To run any organization. So there is no rocket science to this. We can put it in a very methodical way in how we can go about ensuring that there is a proper cash flow. Let's today start stating that when we say cash is king, we have to address something which is cash flow. We will talk of profitability later. First, it is cash flow. So in this cash flow, we need to make sure that, like how we were discussing on a different subject yesterday, we need each and every entrepreneur has to discuss and work a worst case, a medium case, and a best case scenario.
Absolutely.
In this working, they will get three workings. Three workings in isolation is what they need to get. Based on this, they will understand what's the cash required to whatever business they will be able to do. And they will need to now, for the first time, factor something called additional cash requirement. What's this additional cash requirement? You don't know. Just don't know why you need this cash requirement. You might suddenly have a requirement popping in from some quarter, so factor it in today so that you avoid a stress later. This is the first step. Second, as we move, as we also discussed, the wasted cost needs to be cut. It's not cost cut, it is waste cost cut. So once that's done, then you've got it pruned down to a good level. Post that, as the third step, I would suggest restructuring of the particular cash outflow. It can be a capital outflow, it can be a revenue outflow, but it definitely needs to be restructured to suit your particular cash inflow to cash outflow. As a fourth step, very important, own money is the sweetest money. And when we talk about own money, I'm talking about not cash that's sitting with you in the bank. We are entrepreneurs, we're businessmen. So we're talking about the stocks, the receivables that are probably lying around, the stocks that are lying around at your office, your go-down, warehouse, factory, wherever, and the receivables which is sitting with your customers. Now you need to go and see how you can get it. If it's a normal due date, let's just take a receivable. If it's a normal due date, you're going to get it. If it's not a normal due date, make sure you're willing to drop a discount to the customer and to get the cash in, because this is your own money. And if you got stock sitting with you, discount that and sell it for a reduced price today, because you're liquidating your stock. Money in your hands today is much more valuable than the money that's going to come with whatever increase that you will get after 6, 8, 9 months, or about even 3 months. So once you've done this, as in liquidated whatever you've got and energized it, then you need to look at, as a fifth step, talk to your suppliers. Everybody is in an understanding mode today. They also need business. So talk to your suppliers and see how you can request them for an additional credit line. It's not going to harm them. They want to liquidate their stocks as much as you are wanting to. And if you can support them in taking material from them for an additional credit line, it's not going to bother them, because for all you know, they're going to discount the invoice that they've made on you with their banks. And you're facilitating that, which otherwise is sitting as dead stock with them. If you've exhausted all of these moves, and in spite of this, if you have a gap, then is when you approach the bank to facilitate a bridge fund or a gap fund. Let the bank not be the first approach. Let all of these approaches happen, and that's the final approach. Before I pass the mic on to you, Rajesh, one word I would like to add to everybody. This is cash flow management, friends. Cash flow management is now. The goal, the future, the permanency is profitability. Please don't forget that. This is a temporary shot. You need to focus on profitability as the next step. Over to you,
Fantastic,
Rajesh.
Nagu. I think we all are absolutely deep rooted with cash flow management. What you gave as insights is practically very perfect. What I would like to stress upon is the situation which is there now and which will come in the near future. We have got four places from where we get cash revenues in the business. One is your self funds. It might be your funds. It might be venture capitalist funds. It might be private equity funds. It might be stock market funds, but your funds. When you liquidate your equity, you get that funds. Second is you get the revenues from your, you get the cash credits from your vendors. Third, you get revenues from your customers. And fourth, you get revenues from your bank where you take a temporary arrangement. Alok Nag had asked a very simple question, that is it good to take cash loans for tiding over the 3 to 6 months crisis? Yes, you have to. But the first four situations where it is from your own funds, from the credit that you get from your vendors, from the customers, and from the bank should be the last option. If you need to manage these four systems properly well, it will be great. There is a new formula that the world is looking out to now, which is called as the 50-30-20 formula. This new formula is going to educate us that we have to classify categories of cash flow management into three segments. The first segment is your needs that you need to survive on. You have to dedicate 50% of your revenues towards that needs. The 30% is your wants. Your want could be expansion. Your want could be acquisition. But you can live without your want, but you cannot live without your needs. So 50% of your revenues should be protected for your needs. 30% of your revenues can be earmarked for your wants, which can happen or it cannot happen if a situation like COVID-19 arises. And the last 20% typically is for your safety norms. Repayment of capital assets is also considered as savings. So 20% needs to go into savings. Now, none of us might fit into the formula 50-30-20, but let us today become aware about this model of cash management, the 50-30-20 formula. Let us make sure that 50% is always with us, irrespective of the situation. It will not shake us up. Even a COVID-19 situation will not shake us up. The 30% is a want type of a situation, which is not, we cannot not live if it is not done. So it is a safe situation. The balance 20% is something which will help us to repay the debts or to repay the capital asset that you have bought. Repayment of capital asset or real estate asset is considered as a saving. It is not an expenditure and it is a positive stress. Positive stress is called eustress. So what's your take on this, Geeta? That's about me for cash flow management.
Yes, that is absolutely well said, Nagu and Rajesh. Another main part is in business, in cash flow management, always work for profits, normal profits. Don't work for abnormal profits. Meanwhile, there are a lot of industries, in order to get a project or to get into the game, they cut their margins or they undercoat and get into the game. All that needs to stop today, because when you work on negligible margins, that negligible margins in reality disappear. Over several situations, in actuality, it doesn't happen at all. So in today's situation, that working for negligible margin model has to stop. We have to work for real profits, and the surplus has to be really taken out of the business. That is very, very important, which goes as reserve building.
That I was talking
that
about.
Is the 20% you're talking about. That actual thing, as you plan every quarterly, every 6 months, every year, there has to be a plan, financial plan on taking out your reserves, which gets invested prudently, which becomes the reserve for the company tomorrow. On tiding over times like this, that is very important. So going back, working on normal profit is a must. Working on negligible profit is a no-no in today's condition.
So I would also like to add one more aspect over here. Surya's question will be taken after I put this point. And that point is shortening the sales revenue process. We all know that we get a lead. Once we get a lead, we do the 3 C's of life. That 3 C's are: we connect with the lead, we convince the lead, and we convert the lead. So these are the 3 C's, post which we deliver the product or we deliver the service, and post that we collect the money. Now there is a water wheel technology. There is a term called water wheel format. The water wheel format says that the process of all these actions, the lead to your connect, to your convince, to your convert, to your serving, and to collect the cash flow, needs to fasten up. You need to speed it up. That is what Nagu meant by clearing of the balance stock. The short supply of stock to the market is a positive situation in any scenario. You
Yes.
need to have orders, but you should not have excessive stock with you, because that is your cash flow which is stuck. At the same time, you can create credibility with the vendors, because they are also indirectly your financiers. Your terms and your policies are very critically important in a cash management situation. If you create a reputation of paying on time, there will be vendors who will be ready to work with you without cash mobilization advance, provided they get money at the speed that they are not used to in the open world. So I
Yes.
feel cash flow management is fantastic. How often do you should review a cash flow management? Every day. For a businessman,
Absolutely.
cash flow management statistics should be visited every single day. You need to
Yes.
have your eye on the cost, you need to have your eye on the revenues. And when I say you need to have the eye on the revenue, it means the entire organization needs to understand their cash flow requirements, their cash flow situations, and the cash flow assumptions and presumptions. And for God's sake, please have practical assumptions, because in COVID-19 kind of a situation, the biggest hit that anybody has ever got is on the wrong assumption. When you consider it as a very ideal situation in the world order, it is never going to be the same. We have to be proactive. We have to be positively reactive with our strategies in place, like the 50-30-20 formula. Your take, Nagu.
No, perfectly
One.
right. Every day we will have to keep visiting it. There has to be somebody, like if you've got a larger organization and you have a purchase team, you have a sales team, you have a marketing team, you have production team, quality team, all of them will have to have their own KRAs, and in the top KRA is going to be cost. Where do we stand with reference to what was the budget to what was spent? And that needs to be updated. There has to be this financial controller who's like looking onto it. And the top man of the organization needs to be so closely connected, it's got to be like his breath.
Fantastic.
Yes.
So what could
Let
be the ways other than sales to generate cash flow, and how much weightage should be given to the other ways? Geeta, you can address this.
See, the receivables should not swell up in a company. We should not become a bank and funding the clients. The clients have to pay on time, and we have to ensure that the receivables happen on time. Only then that allows us to service the customers with a promise we have made in terms of a product and a service. So it is the responsibility of the client also to pay on time, and it is the responsibility of our departments to collect on time. That is a very, very important aspect which needs to be addressed today, and that will automatically answer the question what Ravi asked.
Ravi, that was a brilliant question, but I will answer it in a very much more different way. How can you analyze to convert your expenditure into a capital investment into some other activity? You can call it as a forward integration. For example, I'll give you an example. In St. Angelo's VNCT Ventures, lots of our villa buyers are NRI customers, and we associated with a brand called Dipti Balagiri, which is in apparels and a fashion brand. We associated with them by investing into that particular brand, which delivers quality dress materials, sari materials, and designer dresses to NRIs abroad. The quality is fantastic. So in a way, the brand of St. Angelo's VNCT Ventures has gone internationally to the same house, which is our potential customer. Identify those expenses in your business model which can get exit from your cash flow management situation and can become a revenue generator. At the same time, it does not compromise on your advertising and reaching your leads norms. So that there are many such methods. You can do backward integration, where you can tie up with vendors who can get associated with you for the barter system. There is a lot of barter system which is happening in this world today. There are people with excess goods. They hold no value to the person who's holding the goods. They can come to you as your raw material, and probably they can take your stock and relieve you of your cash flow strained situation. So there are many formulas. There is no fixed formula for cash flow management, but you need to be sharp, agile, alive, and reactive to the situation at all times. That is the new world order. That is the way we need to move forward. Convert your expenses into investments. That is the smartest thing that an entrepreneur can do in any business scenario, including COVID-19. I think Monisha had asked a very interesting question, where he asked that how do you remotely manage teams in this scenario? Monisha, very good question. How are the ways we are following to communicate to our teams as remotely? The soul of any organization is the people. The strength of any organization is the people. How do we give them directions? How do we be connected with them? How do we keep motivating them is critically important. Currently, the only solution for us is remotely connecting to them through technology, but making sure that there are personal calling also happening to the team on a one-to-one basis. And as entrepreneurs and business leaders, we are leading the situation from the front. The employee who has a leader who leads from the front is the most motivated employee, because he knows he's protected and he knows that my organization leads me in the efforts that I'm delivering. Geeta, your take on that?
Now, what is very important is on remote management, it is the certainty what we are going to give them in times like this. What the team wants to know from leaders like us is that we are fine, everything is going to be fine. We as a unit are going to tide over this through oneness and through commonality and through a common vision. We are going to tide over this and giving them that confidence and certainty, as well as having several methods of video conferencing and working through remote systems. This is a very new concept. We have not managed in remote and they have not worked from home. We have not worked from home. But in 37 days, we have all mastered it. That is the Darwin's theory of evolution. It is the survival of the fittest. Fittest is not the most intelligent. Fittest is not the strongest. Fittest is always the one who adapts to changes. So the one who adapts to changes today will survive and grow. So question yourself, are you the fittest? If not, become one. That is the need of the hour. And the next one is, how are we going to do remote performance management, which we should discuss.
Absolutely. Geeta, that is a very valid point. You said survival of the fittest, but what matters in survival of the fittest is it is the same situation for all. When it is the same situation for all, how will you differentiate yourself? Only on one parameter, the speed of the change, the speed of how you adapt to the new environment. So it is going to be speedy. If you blink a little more, the world changes. So you cannot even afford to blink in today's times. And when the whole world is racing towards performance, whole world is racing towards technology, the speed of how you adapt to the new environment is going to be the deciding factor. And for that, technology and the intentions of the organizations and the participation of the team is critically important. I would now like to name the employees as not employees, but they are cash flow managers in the organization. Right from the peon to the owner of the organization, he's a cash flow manager. Nagu, your take on that?
Oh, Raj, very good. In fact, we need to understand that a man is a product of his surroundings. Now, when during these times, whoever is very actively involved in all the professional discussions, ideations, thoughts, whatever it is, he could be appreciated, he need not be, he as in he or she, but we need to understand whoever is very participative is an active part of the next league. Whoever is not, they are going to be so laid back that they're going to think that it's all fine in being laid back. And as I just said, man is a product of his surroundings. After 40 days, if he thinks that he's right in being laid back, that's when he loses the entire game. And I would think it's got to be a 3I approach. 3I as an I for inform, I for invite, and I for involve. The first I, inform. On let us all inform our people and let our people be informed about what's happening around so that we understand, we impart that knowledge. They understand from us and they also look around. So they are informed. Number 2, invite. We're going to invite them for discussions on what we feel as the way forward, and they're going to come with suggestions. And once we involve them in all the decision making, then it becomes a smooth flow. So the 3I approach of inform, invite, and involve will really take everybody through.
Absolutely. In fact, the involved part is going to be so seriously important that if you are taking a flight, it is turn by turn, every passenger coming on the pilot seat and flying the flight. So we have to have that kind of a trust in every employee that we have. We need to make him a pilot at all regular times. That is the kind of involvement that business organizations will look forward to, the new terminology for employees, which is cash flow managers. We have got our friend Mohammad Amir, who has connected to us from all the way from Qatar, who's a phenomenally fantastic project manager, developing one of the largest projects in Qatar. And cash flow management for him and his organization are also equally important. I'm sure he's going to take away some takeaways from this session today. But these are fabulous involvement times. Remote team management, important is their productivity, important is their training, important is improving their knowledge quotient, and also doing analysis of the performance on a daily basis. As an organization, we have got our mechanisms in place where every single day, I will repeat, every single day, we do a performance analysis of everybody in a very positive manner, and the takeaways are implemented instantly from the next minute we say go. We have also applied the Parkinson's law of compressing the time required for a particular activity. Our 1.5 hours of team meetings have been reduced to just 20 minutes with the same effectiveness and more enthusiasm and more time for them to deploy to actual action. Geeta, what's your take on that?
Yes, according to me, in performance, team performance management, our job is performance management. There, what cannot be measured can never be achieved, according to me. So everybody in the organization should have, the organization goal should be clearly articulated and communicated. Everybody should start owning the company's vision and the goal now going forward, number one. Number two, everybody should be working on targets and deliverables. Each department, every individual should be clear with that. And number three, there has to be a performance matrix for every individual, right from the security guard till the managing director of the company should have a performance matrix. As simple as that. That needs to be evaluated. Skill deficit has to be one-on-one discussion has to have, and skill deficit needs to be filled. Number five, scorecard is a mandatory thing in any organization which we need to follow. Every employee should have a scorecard, and the scorecard has to be prepared for them. That is the review and the evaluation. All this will take us on performance management. Above all, when all of the process is in place, I would recommend trust management. When we trust and empower them fully and give them authority with responsibility and accountability, they become the owner and the stakeholders, and we all together with a common vision drive and go where we want to reach.
Fabulous. Trust management is a takeaway point, Geeta, and that is what I meant when you say that when you are on a flight, you allow your employees, your teammates to take the control of the flight. That is the trust that we have in them, that it is our life in their hands. At the same time, when we are at the driving controlling end, they are trusting their life in our hands. So it is nothing but a trust management. We are run out of time. But before we could conclude that, let me share something that life is today a number game. Whether it is cash flow management, it is numbers. Time is a number. You have to perform on time. Calendar is a number. You have to make sure that the delivery happens on the due committed dates that we do in all our respective numbers. Your salary is a number, your incentive is a number, life is a number, days are a number, time is a number, everything is numbers. Cash flow management is number management. Let us start living with them. And friends, post lockdown, somebody asked the questions whether the lockdown will be repeated. They will be repeated in regular intervals. We need to be aware about that, and accordingly we need to organize our cash flow management. Let us be aware. Let us not be surprised. Let us not be ever being taken by surprise ever again after this COVID-19 situation. I wish you all the best. Have a God bless future. We are going to have a rocking economy with India. Entrepreneurs like all of us together are going to make the change for the country. And let us have our feet on the ground and teeth in the pie. Let's enjoy the forward journey together. See you tomorrow at 4:15 p.m. Thank you for now.
Yes. See you tomorrow. India is shining and life is beautiful.
Awesome. See you all tomorrow at 4:15 p.m. This is Nagu Chidambaram.
Thank you so much.